Embracing change. Inspired by the parable of the new wineskins, Gospel of Mark 2:22. High in the gentle hills of a sun-kissed valley, there lived a respected winemaker named Elias. He was a man of habit, calm, thoughtful, and deeply rooted in tradition. For decades, Elias had made wine exactly the way his father had, and his father before him. His cellar was lined with rows of old wineskins, carefully mended over the years, each one carrying a story. To Elias, these wineskins were more than tools. They were symbols of legacy, of seasons past, and of everything he had ever known. One particular autumn, something extraordinary happened. The grapes that grew on Elias's vineyard were unlike any he had ever seen. They were plump, glowing with color, and their fragrance filled the air with a sweetness that seemed almost heavenly. The villagers whispered that it was a blessed harvest, a sign that something new was being poured into the world. Elias, excited yet cautious, decided to make the wine as he always had. When the new wine was ready, he poured it into his old wineskins, those familiar vessels he had trusted for years. But this new wine had a power of its own. As the fermentation began, the wineskins started to strain. Night after night, Elias would hear the faint creaking and groaning of the leather as the new wine expanded. And then one early morning, crack, splash, thud, the old wineskins burst. Rivers of sweet wine ran across the cellar floor, soaking the earth. Elias knelt down, scooping it in his hands as tears filled his eyes. He had worked so hard, yet everything was lost in moments. As the sun rose, an elder from the village, an old friend of his father, walked down to the cellar. She had lived long enough to see many seasons come and go. Looking at the mess, she spoke gently. "Elias, the wine didn't destroy what was strong. It only revealed what could no longer hold it. New wine must be poured into new wineskins. The old served its purpose, but it wasn't made to carry the future." Her words pierced his heart. Elias realized that he had clung to the old out of comfort, out of fear of letting go. He loved his traditions so much that he couldn't see they were no longer strong enough to hold what was being birthed in this new season. That evening, Elias sat under the moonlight outside his vineyard. The stars shone brightly, and the cool wind brushed against his face. He began to think about other areas of his life he had refused to change. His routines, his mindset, even the way he viewed himself. Everything had been built around the old. For the first time, he whispered, "Maybe it's not just the wineskins that need to be renewed. Maybe it's me." The very next day, he set out to learn how to craft new wineskins, not to dishonor the past, but to make space for the future. It took time, patience, and humility to learn something new after so many years of doing things one way. But slowly, the cellar began to change. New wineskins lined the shelves, stronger and more flexible. When Elias poured the wine again, it settled beautifully. The fermentation came alive inside the new vessels, not with strain or breaking, but with harmony. This time, Elias didn't just produce wine. He produced something remarkable, a vintage that brought the entire village together in celebration. Weeks later, when the villagers gathered around the fire to share the wine, Elias spoke to them with a soft but confident voice. "The old ways gave us strength," he said, "but change gave us abundance. Sometimes God is not taking something away from us, He's making room for something greater." The elder raised a glass and said with a warm smile, "This is what happens when we make room for the new. We do not lose ourselves. We grow into something greater." Moral of the story: in life, it's easy to hold on to what's familiar, old habits, old mindsets, old ways of doing things. But new seasons demand new vessels. Growth often requires us to release what no longer serves us, so we can receive what's next. Just as new wine needs new wineskins, your future needs a new you, more open, more flexible, and ready for change. If this story spoke to your heart, pause and reflect. What old wineskin might you be holding on to out of comfort or fear? What new opportunities could unfold if you opened your heart to change? Today, Let this be your reminder. Don't fear change. Embrace it. If this message inspired you, give this video a thumbs up, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and subscribe to Wise Words for more powerful stories that uplift and transform. Your next chapter begins when you stop clinging to the last one